Who am I? The girls them sugar. Who am I? The girls them sugar.
What it do? What it do?
What up, though?
Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the Who Am I podcast, episode 54, right? Correct?
About
Yes.
that, you know.
Yes, sir. Right after the Pondy podcast. Yes, sir. Welcome in. Welcome in. How you
What part
feeling?
of the world we're gonna take them to today? You know, today I'm feeling American again. You know,
Okay, all
back
right.
stateside.
You got tired of cultural appropriation and
Yeah.
decided to come on back. You decided to come on back. Or like, how does that work?
Yeah, but I did my time. You know, I got that out my system. You know.
Okay. Oh, it was a salute. It was a salute. What cultural appropriation? It was a salute.
Oh no, it was definitely cultural appropriation. You know? But I'm done with that now. I'm trying to figure out the next one. All right, back at home base now.
Now we here. All right. I seen you doing on TikTok the already challenge. Don't act like that now. You was all the way in just a little bit ago. Now you follow at Kingy Eyes on TikTok, man.
Definitely don't have a TikTok. That's hilarious.
All right, man. Let's get straight to it, man.
Yeah, so a lot of good music came out past couple weeks. So some of these are a little bit older, but I'll start with some singles. The first single I want to highlight is Black Thought featuring Pusha T, Killer Mike, and Swiss Beats called Good Morning. I think that lyrically, this is just one of the best songs of the year. If you listen to that lineup, Black Thought, Pusha T, Killer Mike, like you just know that they all gonna come correct with bars. And I think that Black Thought is just, ever since that Funk Flex freestyle, I think people have just been awakening to like, yo, he's one of the best lyricists that we have. Like up there with like a Eminem or somebody that's like super technical. Black Thought is really on par with some of them. I think everybody came through. Pusha T came through with his verse. Killer Mike ended it something crazy. You know, like Killer Mike was speaking facts, bro. Like he came through and gave a history lesson on him. Like it was crazy. And then Swiss Beats killed the beat. Like this is the pinnacle of like lyrical rap. Like you don't have to be so like not a good beat to like get your raps off. Like you can have a great Swiss Beats beat and still get off your lyrics. So this was the epitome of that. I think this was like the pinnacle of high level rap and one amazing song.
Yeah, Killer Mike, man. That's all I can say about the Killer Mike, man. He get on these type of songs, and he had one with on T.I. album about a year or two ago, maybe. I think it was called 40 Acres, and same thing, bro. Same, just dominates on these type of songs, man. I love it.
Yeah, ain't nothing like getting some knowledge on top of like some bars. Like he went in.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, so in line with bars, we got another one, 38 Special, I highlighted last week. He had a song with Benny the Butcher called Stash Box. And again, that Griselda sound is just, even though it's, you know what to expect when you listen to it, it doesn't get old because they've perfected it and they do it so well. It's like, you know what to expect and you know what's going to deliver, and it's just high quality and it's just bars. Like I told y'all last week, I appreciate 38 Special because of his rhyming scheme. Is simple, but it's effective. Like that 1, 2, 3 punchline. I like that. And then Benny the Butcher, he just come correct. You know, he's kind of like, if I compare Griselda to like the Locks, Benny the Butcher is like the Jadakiss. Like he's going to make the best like commercial hits. He can still high level rap, but it isn't so niche like Styles P or Conway the Machine. You know what I mean? So Benny the Butcher definitely came through. I think Benny the Butcher has a project coming out with Hit Boy, and if that's an indication, Hit Boy is on fire right now with the Nas project, all his production on Big Sean. So if Hit Boy and Benny the Butcher come together and drop an album, bro, that's going to be amazing.
That's the one.
It's amazing, bro. But Stash Box from 38 Special and Benny the Butcher, definitely a dope track. And then kind of different, like new age kind of song is Internet Money featuring Don Toliver, Gunner, and Nav. The song called Lemonade off their last project. To me, it's just catchy. You know, like it's definitely catchy. And sometimes when I get in my Griselda bag, I need some like auto tune. I need something that just like vibes to. I don't really want to listen to the lyrics. Where Don Toliver, I think he's like a hook master. You know, he's under that Cactus Jack imprint. He's a product of Travis Scott. So you know that he has the keys to be successful. You know he got that machine behind him, but he just isn't missing with all the songs that I'm hearing him on. I've been a fan since his project dropped earlier this year, Heaven or Hell. Don Toliver definitely came through and made this song a hit. It's catchy, but if you listen to the words, it's heavy on the drug abuse. It's heavy on the drug abuse. Like they always talk about, Zanny bars and drinking lean and all. It's a lot for me, but the melody is so catchy where I was like, all right, man, I ain't gonna sing along, but I'm gonna sing the melody. You know,
I haven't listened to a lot of Don Toliver because of that reason, though.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
I already got a stable rappers that really don't be talking about shit.
Yeah,
and I don't know how much more I can fit in there.
Yeah, I feel it's a little fresh. It's new, you know what I mean? So it's new and I don't know. I like it. But he ain't talk about too much. But I like the melodies. It's like when old people like they know a new song that come out, but they don't know the words, and they know like that's how I feel when I'm listening to his. Like I ain't gonna repeat what he's saying, but I like it. But that's all I got for singles, though.
All right, let's get to these albums.
A lot of good albums. One album that I just kind of got put on recently is an artist by the name of Blast. It's spelled BLXSTS, and it's called No Love Lost. And it's kind of weird because you find it in the R&B section, but if you look at the actual album, it's labeled as hip hop and rap. And the homies were just talking about this in a group chat. It's kind of like genre bending. Like you don't really know whether to put it as an R&B album or to put it as a rap album because it's not really either or. But it's super, super dope. Like a short project, only, I believe, 8 songs, 19 minutes, super short, straight to the point. My favorite song on there is Overrated, but I really do think that like hood R&B, like just like that K-Camp, like that Tory Lanez before he shot Meg, that Bryson Tiller Trap Souls, like Black, you know what I mean? Like that type of R&B is like super dope. And I think this is just a newest edition. R&B, they can't miss this year. Like, it's so many great R&B projects this year. So this is just another one up there. Definitely worth the listen. A lot of great songs on there, but Blast, No Love Lost, great project right there.
We got to normalize this, bro. Normalize the short albums, man. Normalize the 20-minute album, man. Just do it. Just normalize the 20-minute album, bro. You can create a masterpiece in that amount of time. I don't need much. It's kind of like when people are like, you hear about like people working out at the gym, they be like, I was in there for like 3 hours. Like, bro, I can do probably a better workout in an hour. Like, I don't need the 3 hours. I don't need the extra sitting around. I don't need the extra all that other stuff. I just need my certain amount of time to do my cardio, my weightlifting. I'm good. Same with album, bro. I just need enough song. Because if the more you extend your album, the more margin for error you got.
Facts.
So you can put a song on there that half of your fan base don't like, and you just like, damn, I probably should let that one off. You might have 4 or 5 of those. You put a 25 tracks together. Like that's too much music. Like normalize the little 8, 10, 20 minute, 30-minute albums, man. That's what's getting it done now lately.
I hate to say it, but you know who started this trend? You know what I mean? The man himself, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
Saying
the president, our next president.
Yeezus. Presidential candidate Kanye. Presidential candidate Kanye West.
For like two counties. Like
anything possible, all right.
All right.
So the last album I wanted to highlight is, again, Conway the Machine, From a King to a God. You know, if anytime Griselda drop or anybody of that camp drop, I'm going to be on it. So Conway the Machine, this is technically his debut album. So you could definitely tell, like, the production on it is definitely different. It's still, like I said with Kanye or Conway, it's still, like, very niche. Whereas, like, you kind of have to know, like, all right, this isn't really going to be an easy listen if you're not really tuned into that type of dark, kind of lo-fi, kind of offbeat type of beats. But the bars are A1. Like, you never are going to go into a Conway the Machine track and think, like, oh, he's not going to spit. So he definitely did deliver there. I think some of the highlights, all of the singles that he dropped, which I didn't realize, he dropped a lot of singles for this project, but all of them are good, whether that be the Lemon song with Method Man, Fear God with Dej Loaf, Frontlines, the song that he dropped in response to the George Floyd situation. But he also had some new songs on there like Juvenile Hell with Flea Lord, Havoc, and Lloyd Banks. And like Lloyd Banks just went off. And I think it's dope to have the Griselda movement kind of give light to the older legends to kind of show that there is still a lane, and there is a clear like passing of the torch of the 90s, early 2000s lyrical rap to kind of what Griselda is doing now. You can kind of see that lineage. So I think that is dope. And the last song on there, Nothing Less, produced by DJ Premier. DJ Premier, a legendary producer with Conway the Machine, is just a classic feel of a track. And I think that's like the pinnacle of what Conway the Machine can provide. Kind of like we were saying, we want to hear Benny the Butcher on Hit Boy. I think DJ Premier and Conway, that's kind of like a match made in heaven right there. Now, my biggest disappointment of the project, and it's kind of on me because I had expectations. I saw the track list and I saw a song with Conway and Freddie Gibbs. And I'm like, all right, bet this is about to be the best song on there. Like I could just go straight to it. And Freddie Gibbs, he dropped one of the best rap albums of the year for me. And him and Conway, they got a good chemistry. But Conway wanted to sing for some reason. Like he even said it like, oh man, I felt like singing. Like, no, bro, like no.
Nah.
Don't do it. Nah. So he was singing on there and it did sound good, you know? Like it just did. it did sound good. Of course, the verse is gonna be fire. Him and Freddie Gibbs went, but I can't listen to Conway the Machine sing, you know. So that's my biggest disappointment. It's not a bad album, definitely not a bad album. It's just without that, I would have loved this album, but that was the biggest like heartbreak because I wanted that song to be so good. But overall, great project for Conway. This to be his debut and this to be his third project that he dropped this year. It's just a testament to how consistent, how lyrical, and how gifted all the members of Griselda really are.
Yeah, man. They, like I said, I feel like it's every week we come over here and say they can't be stopped. Like we don't have to like reiterate that again. I apologize because I ain't been up to par on my music lately. I've been I had a friend and she's been putting me on to some artists. I've been giving her some artists, a lot of R&B. So we've been going back and forth about some old stuff that came out in this 2020. So I haven't really been catching up. So I'm gonna catch up on this one. I'm gonna give my little spiel next week. But I do want to catch up on Big Sean because I listened to the second half of that album. I remember on the last podcast I wasn't finished with it yet. You were correct. That second half is fire. It's a lot of great songs on that. Not much to say on that. It's still a little bit C plus B-ish for me because the first half just I wasn't inspired like that. So it's still a little bit this and that, but it's all right now. You know what I'm saying? Like it evens out to be kind of cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's
by average.
But again, if normalize the smaller albums, man. Normalize the small albums, bro. You might have a classic on your hands, you know?
Yeah, if he took his best songs and then condensed them.
If this was 12 and I could pick the 12 out of the 20 that he gave me, this album fire.
Yeah.
But instead, here we are. So
get into the paper like it's human nature. That's that work.
Man, yeah.
That's that work.
That shit is dope. The cipher is probably one of my favorite. I know it shouldn't be. I know there's probably something else on there that I probably should, but the cipher, I just like listening to it for every reason. It's a dope concept. Dope concept on that. But yeah, for sure. I think it's all the music we got, right?
That's all I got, boss.
You got, I should say.
That's all I got.
Want
to go into these topics?
Yeah, let's get to it, man. We on shaky ground. We on shaky ground. We got one that we know people not gonna like. We got another that we probably shouldn't even be speaking on. No, we on shaky ground here.
I love it. I love all these topics. All right,
let's get it. I'll start. I'll start.
Yeah, pick the one because I will go off on anyone I start.
Let's start with the easy one. Let's start. Well, the easy one that we're not sure if we should be talking about. So Dr. Dre's ex-wife. That's what we starting, man. Soon to be ex-wife, I should say. They're going through a divorce. Dr. Dre and Nicole Young, that's his spouse currently. Not really too much to speak on the divorce. We don't know the ins and outs of their relationships or why they are getting divorced or anything like that. I wish them both the best. What we do want to talk about, some information came out recently on the breakdown of the spousal support that Nicole Young wants. So she wants $2 million a month in temporary spousal support. it doesn't say how long that's supposed to be, but I looked it up and the average is about 1 to 5 years. So that can go on. So she can get $2 million a month for whatever from 1 to 5 years. It actually ends out to be about 2.5 million per year. And the breakdown goes as such. So laundry and cleaning is about 10,000 a month. Clothes is 135K a month. Education is 60K a month. That also says tuition and living expenses. Entertainment is 900K a month. Charitable contributions is 125K a month. Mortgage is 100K a month, and telephone, cell phone, and email somehow, because apparently email is costing 20K a month. So it's clearly I disagree, but for several different reasons. I'll explain. I'll explain my point. And I'll let you talk. I think spousal support is just trash in general. No matter if it's male, female, no matter which way it's going, it doesn't make sense to me. But this is one of those ways, those things that we talk about where there's a legal glasses that you got to kind of put on, and there's a what you feel kind of glasses you got to put on. Legally, I can see why it made sense at some point. I didn't get to find when this law was actually put in place, but it was a while ago. It was in the 1900s. It was a long time ago when this actual law and this type of stuff was put into place. Which basically says that any money that was made by that couple after they were married is their money. It's not Dr. Dre's money. It's their money. Not saying Nicole Young didn't make a dime during that time frame, but even if she didn't make a dime during that time frame, that 17 years they were married, it would still be their money because that's how the law sees it. That doesn't make sense to me. I see the arguments. I see she was with him for this long and hold him down. She's accustomed to this life. I see that one a lot. I see the legally or personally wise, you don't know how much they spend a month. I've seen Dr. Dre might not even be mad at the $2 million a year. I understand all that. And that to me, it's just not very strong arguments. I don't see any reason why, because I brought you into a lifestyle, I should not have to pay for you to sustain that lifestyle for another 5 years after we have split. Barring, I don't know what they're splitting for, but I don't know if it's cheating. I don't know what could have possibly made them split. I understand that it's a situation that we'll probably never find out. But $2 million a month, $24 million a year is absurd to me. I can see some type of a splitting, I don't know, severance package, maybe. I don't know what you would really call it. Even that seems weird to me because I know I understand it, but I just don't get it. There's also $5 million in here that's out for the legal fees, which is another expense that Dr. Dre would have to pay. It's just a lot of money for me that I don't see why I should have to pay. And I don't see why anybody should have to pay that type of money to their ex-spouse. It doesn't make sense. Just because we were married and I brought you into a lifestyle, okay, well, unfortunately, we didn't work out and you're going to have to go back to whatever you were doing before. You had a life before you met me. If you wouldn't have met me, you would have been doing just fine, I'm sure. So you can go back to doing just fine and getting it on your own. You got to get on your own. Like we all preach all this independence and want to own businesses and want to have this and equal rights and this and that stuff. But then in these situations, you're like, yeah, girl, go get the money. It's like, no, that's his money. $125 in charitable donations. You want to get my money to donate it? You want $900K in entertainment? I have to pay to entertain you for 5 years? That makes sense to you? I gotta pay to entertain your ass. Like, that's crazy to me. And that's crazy. That should be crazy to anybody. I think Adele just went through this and it was the opposite way. And I said the same thing where she had to pay her ex about it. I'm like, why is this a thing? Like, I don't understand. I don't really get why this is a thing. But this is why, and I understand there's a big emphasis on marriage, and I want to be married and I want to have kids, and I want all that too. I definitely want that for myself. But in all in all, it's a contract. And that's what it simply boils down to. In the legal eye, it's just a contract. I met one of my troops. She was talking about her mom and dad, and they were together for like 24 years before they got married because they just didn't care. They didn't care. Only reason they got married is because one of her parents got sick, and they didn't want, if he passed away, they didn't want all his stuff to be going to somebody else. So they ended up like, oh well, let's go ahead and go sign that contract because that's what it is. It's a contract. It doesn't really. It might elevate your love. For some people, but in all, it's just a contract. It's nothing crazy. Joe Rogan talks about this all the time on his podcast about marriages and why he's against it or why he's for it and anything like that. and again, I want to reiterate, I want to get married. I do think that's an important part of people's lives, but it is just a contract. And these are the type of things that you can clearly see why it's a contract. You literally have to give a severance pay when you break that contract. That sounds like somebody that had a job and then they left the job and now there's a severance pay. That's what this is, man. It's ridiculous to me. I don't think we should have this law at all. I don't think spousal support should be a thing. I shouldn't have to care for you years after I've split from you. And I don't think any woman should have to care for me 5 years after they split from me either.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think marriage itself is just a bad contract. If I don't have to get married, I'm not going to. I don't think the government will determine if I love somebody or not. You know what I mean? So I think it's just it's good for like when people get sick and inheritance and all that, but it's just a bad contract, especially if you're successful, and that's been proven time and time again. So in addition to her $2 million in spousal support, she also filed additional court documents saying that Dr. Dre should sit for a 21-hour deposition, 8 hours for the validity of their prenup because she said that she signed it under duress, and then 13 hours to dig into their financial issues, according to TMZ. So it seemed, and again, we don't know, we're just speculating at this point, but it just seems as if this is a loophole within the divorce legal terminology to kind of get back at your partner if they're more successful than you. And she cited irreconcilable, I don't know,
differences.
Yeah, irreconcilable differences as their reason for getting divorced. They cited in April, I guess he got drunk and kicked her out the house and like sent her to another house and cut off her like support, like she can't use the money anymore. And after that, they kind of split ways. Dr. Dre hasn't had the best reputation when it comes to, you know, him and dealings with women. Like throughout the 90s, he's been accused of some heinous things. He's admitted to some things that he's done with women. So I'm not here to say like he's just almighty and he's all good and he can't do any wrong. It just seems as if this situation is kind of slanted against him, you know, because he's the successful person. He has to kind of fork up all of that money to maintain her way of living that she's comfortable with. Now, she did claim that she helped name his record label Aftermath. Like she was instrumental in that. She helped with the Beats deal. And I think that's where the deposition and all of that will have to come into place to say, yes, she didn't really do the work, but how instrumental was she in all of this business, or how was she in like advising him or being like the person to kind of tell him which way to go as far as business goes. So I do think that it's not like, yo, we get divorced, you don't have to get nothing. Like you said, kind of like a care package type of thing, but it definitely shouldn't just be, yo, I'm paying all of these extravagant amounts. And like, it's some people that don't make $100,000 a year, and you asking me for $125,000 to give away. It's some people that don't make $50,000, $70,000 a year, and you about to spend $900,000 a month on entertainment. And you spending, what was it, like 10,000 or 100,000 on laundry, but then you spending another sum of money on new clothes. It's like all of that isn't really necessary, I think, in a court of law. Like, why should I have to pay with? That's a habit. That's not you living. That is your habit. There's some people that don't make that in a year, and you trying to spend that a month. That's not justifiable in my eyes. But I think ultimately we really got to look at the law and figure out how we can avoid these type of things. Like the prenup thing, I think that's going to be a big indicator on if she'll get this spousal support. But prenups, bro. If I do get married, prenup is happening. Not to like say that women are trying to get me for my money, or not even saying I got enough money to get this type of situation, but a prenup will sort all of this out in the beginning.
Yeah, again, it's just to me a bad argument. I see it. I understand it. It's not one of those ones that I'm like, oh, I just don't get the argument at all. No, I get the argument. She's accustomed to a certain type of living, and you're saying that she is entitled to continue that type of living based off of what, though? That's my thing. Why? Why is that a thing, bro? Why? I don't get it. I don't get why. If you were somewhere, I don't know what she was doing before Dr. Dre came to her life. I'm assuming she had some type of money to be
She's married to an athlete, and Dr. Dre actually stole it from an athlete.
Well, all right. I'll rest my case. I'll rest my case on this subject. I just don't. I want to read. I don't want to sound like toxic masculinity, whatever people were saying. I don't want to sound that way. That's not what I'm keeping this 100 with both sides, bro. I don't think this is a thing, bro. I don't want nobody taking care of my grown ass 5 years after we divorced anyway. If I marry Oprah today and get divorced in 10 years, if she don't give me the money, I'm not gonna be like, nah, the legal system, you save me. Nah, bro. Like that's just it is what it is, bro. If I want to stay in that type of lifestyle, I should have found out a way. All that time you had all that money coming in, and you should have did something with it. Now she did say on there that he was I think the term was aggressive or viciously determining how much money she spent or something like that. Like wasn't allowing her to use her black card or something like that. It sounds bad. I understand that. So I don't want to really speak too much on that, but all that time, all that money coming in, and you have any streams of income coming in, that might be a fault in yourself.
Yeah, the fact that if I kick you out my house, but I got a whole nother house to send you to in Malibu, like, yo, I don't want you here, but go to the other house, and it's another like $1 million mansion over here. It's like, it's kind of crazy. But again, we all know the details. Yeah, I'm trying to stay objective, but
yeah,
it's
should sound crazy.
It's ridiculous, bro.
Yeah, it should sound crazy.
It's ridiculous.
That should not be a law, bro. Like it just shouldn't be a thing. Like I don't get it.
This be my point, bro. All this, like, oh, let's go vote. All that. Yeah. Oh, bro, we need to change these laws. We need to vote for the people that's going to change the law. All these elected officials that's writing up these laws or whatever. This is a problem, bro. This is a problem. This is outdated.
It's stupid. I could see why it made sense back then. It was probably coming off a time when women were oppressed and they weren't allowed to do certain jobs, and then the equal rights things was a real thing. Right. Like I'm not saying it's not a real thing right now, but I'm saying it was really, really in there with women right there. So women that were getting divorced probably didn't have legitimately any way of making income. To me, I don't think that's true at all for today. I think, I don't see why she can't go on to have a successful career of her own without Dr. Dre's money.
Yeah, bro. She could start a whole podcast, write a book,
bro.
Going No Jumper, Adam 22, talking about all the nasty stuff they like to do.
Anything but that, bro. Anything but that. Anything but taking my $125K and giving it away to a charitable donation.
No, the fact that you got $100,000 mortgage is crazy. You can buy a house. $2 million a month, you could buy a house, bro. You don't have to pay a mortgage, $100,000. No, you should not be paying 9 times more in entertainment than your mortgage. Bro.
That's a problem.
Come on.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah. That's not financially stable right there. That's a problem. If over 50% of your income is entertainment,
that's ridiculous.
Who am I? I spent $8 on Netflix and be like, damn, man.
I spent $100 on my phone and email. And I'm like, all right, that's a little pricey.
Yeah, I spent a couple $100 on groceries. I'm like, shit.
A couple $100,000? Come on, bro.
Nah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, bro. Where would you spend $900? What was the first thing? If somebody said you got $900K, and I'm sure it's possible. Not say it's not possible. If somebody was like, yo, you got $900K to spend this month in entertain yourself.
I'm calling up real NBA players. I'm like, bro, you trying to play 1-on-1 in my front yard? I got a bump this. I know you ain't in the playoffs. But I know Dame was talking crazy. He won the 1-on-1.
This track. Me and OBJ about to be chill. Nope, not. Oh, never mind. I was gonna make an OBJ joke that probably ain't a good time for that. Probably ain't a good time for that. It's probably a shitty situation if I did that. So,
but all right, bro. Relax. Relax.
All right.
Oh man.
All right, man. Let's move on, man. To the dicey situation we about to get ourselves into.
Dicey. I think this is pretty straightforward to me.
It's easy for me. It's easy for me to see, but I'll let you go ahead. I'll let you get your shit off.
Talk about politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this past week, a political. You see how heavy I get. I told you so.
Let me mute.
So political commentator Candace Owens and rapper, I want to qualify, Cardi B got into it online after Candace Owens got with the fellow political commentator Ben Shapiro, and they had a special where she basically called out Joe Biden for using Cardi B in a recent interview, just basically saying that Cardi B was being used as a pawn for the Democratic agenda, saying that she wasn't really qualified. And it's kind of like another example of tokenism to talk about politics in a way that wasn't really educated. Now, she did go on to, insult her, call her illiterate, and throw a lot of jabs there. So obviously Cardi B went to respond. So she responded on Twitter and excuse me, she went on IG Live as well to kind of throw some shots back, basically saying that you're saying I'm being used by Joe Biden, but you're actually being used by President Trump, and you're not being invited to the Republican National Convention. You don't really like yourself, or you don't like black people. And it again evolved into some personal attacks. It got into some political arguments. I think Candace Owens then responded back on Twitter and on IG Live in the same way, just kind of rebutting all of the claims that Cardi B made, saying that she was invited to the RNC, but she denied it. And it kind of went back and forth. A lot of jabs were being thrown, a lot of insults were being thrown, but a lot of heated discussion and a lot of facts were being debated. So I think that this was a great example of political discourse in an election year and a politically charged environment. I think that you saw two different ways to argue politically. I think that there were some good things done on both sides. I think there were some bad things done on both sides. But I think this is a great example to look at and dissect to see how we can talk about politics or people on different sides, and how we can, look at these type of arguments from a broad range, and use this as an example to go through and learn from. So,
yeah. I'll start without the jokes because they're coming. But but if in terms of that, the question you posed me, this is probably a bad way to talk about politics. Right now, there's things that came to light. There are things that came to light, and there's things that some thought-provoking things that you have to sit down with yourself and say, like, hey, is Cardi B being used for, a pundit, if you would, or whatever kind of word you want to use there? Is Candace Owens being used for the same thing? Those two things are different the way their situations are. Candace Owens is actually political commentary. Like, she actually has a degree. She actually does this. This is her living. Cardi B is not, right? Clearly, if you watch, and I'm not trying to disrespect Cardi B. I'm not saying, y'all know I'm not about the like shut up and dribble or shut up and color, just stay in your lane type of thing. There's life is full of different things that you should all, try to learn about, right? So politics is one of them. Politics is something that every American should be well informed on. But if you're not, you may be doing more harm to your community than you are doing positives for your community. That interview with Joe Biden and Cardi B was a joke. If you're really into politics, that's a joke. That's and it's not a funny one either, right? It wasn't a good interview. Now, if you want to say, well, then you're just saying that none of our black stars can do that. No, we actually came on here and talked about the Joe Biden and Charlamagne interview, and we appreciated how Charlamagne was really at his neck with some really important questions. Candace Owens had a good point about what Cardi B was doing. And it was a lot of, this is my Christmas list for the black community, which is kind of weird. It's kind of weird for you to be the one to be out here saying that, and then not really even having the statistics behind it to make a solid argument to really get those things to happen, right? If I'm sending somebody into the White House to talk to the president about things for the black community, it's a long list of people I'd put on there before I put Cardi B. That's not disrespect. That's just honesty. That's just how I'm coming with it. And anybody should feel the same way. Do not let the likeness of somebody blind you from something that's a real issue for you, right? Because I talk about not having a dog in the fight. I'm not saying that Cardi B isn't affected by the average black, community, like family household type deal. But it when you're a millionaire, it's a little different. Those things kind of hit a little different, right? Yeah. So when she goes in there, she might not understand the concept of what you're trying to ask her to get. So that when things come out like, well, we want free healthcare and free college and free this, but I want my tax lower. Those 4 things don't match. Those things can't happen in the same sentence. So pick one, right? Like pick one. It's kind of, this is the real argument for real in plain terms. If you're talking about all this free stuff, you're talking about that you're going to be paying for somebody else's family as well. So that's really what it is. They're going to raise your taxes so you can pay for somebody else's child to go to school. They're going to pay taxes so you can pay for somebody else to be in some healthcare, right? Like that's what it is. If you're okay with that, that's fine. But just realize that that's the argument that you're really asking for. So things like that is what when these conversations have, where it's good come, is that it actually takes us to actually sit back and say, well, maybe Candace Owens had a point. Maybe we shouldn't be sitting in Cardi B to be having these conversations. Maybe we shouldn't be actually looking at what she was asking for and seeing if it's something good, would be something good for our community or something bad for our community. Maybe she is being used. And then Cardi B did have a few good points, although they were seldom. Like she did. She did though. I'm gonna give her a little bit, and then I'm gonna pass it on because I know I said a lot so far. I'm gonna pass it on, but she did have some good points, right? You could make that argument that Candace Owens is being used by the Trump administration and is not getting something in return for her investment. That may be true, but that's a problem for Candace Owens. Everything that Candace Owens brought up was a problem that every Black American should be thinking about. Every Black American should be looking at what the things that she said. Even if you don't like her, you should be listening to her because she is skilled at this. This is her lane. She knows what she's talking about. So if you get into an argument with her on this, these are the things. This is how the outcome is going to go. I actually talked about this a couple weeks ago. I remember just playing around. I was like, one person I wouldn't want to smoke with would be Candace Owens. Like, I don't like her, but I don't want to smoke. I'm not nearly prepared enough to do this. And Cardi B would step into that lane, and it got a little ugly, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I want to stay serious, kind of with the serious points first. So I'll let you get your shit off.
Hey man, I'm just gonna say it, bro. This is what I be talking about, dog. LeVar Ball said it best, bro. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Don't come at somebody in their area of expertise and just think that you're a celebrity. You could just say and do what you want. Nah, bro. They about to put them the political pause on you, bro.
Yeah. The verbal skibbity paps it's crazy, dog.
You put the political pause on Cardi B, and it was left with another speed knot coming out the the Met Gala. It was not cool. So this is my thing. I'm a little biased, so I'll just admit it right now. Kanye West, when he went on his whole spiral down, when he went up and did all them rants, it was because of Candace Owens. Like his first initial tweet was like, I like the way Candace Owens thinks. That's the person that he got in contact with, and that's when he started down this whole Republican downward spiral that everybody knows about. So I've been on Candace Owens since that whole ordeal, and I think that I'm more versed in what she says. I follow her programs, and I'm more versed in like what she's doing. And I think in that, I see that her consistent argument is, I'm trying to help, I'm trying to fix, I'm trying to implement change in the Black community. Like, yes, she supports the Trump administration. Yes, she is more Republican based, but her ultimate goal is, I want what's best for the Black community. And her idea of that is traditional conservative values, right? Now, again, everybody can have their own way at getting to the end goal, but I respect anybody whose end goal is to help or empower the Black community. Your methods might be different than my methods. Your route to get there might be different from my route, but as long as we can agree that the Black community needs help and we can invest and we can empower them in different ways, I'm always going to support that. So whenever arguments like this happen and it immediately gets into insults, I don't like that. You know what I mean? Like even from Candace, when calling Cardi B illiterate and insulting her intelligence, I think that doesn't really prove your argument. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really wanted to say that, let your argument speak for it and let Cardi B show her illiteracy or her misunderstanding of the facts, which she kind of did, you know, either in spelling, either in pronunciation and stuff. Like, I don't think she. Stop. Like, she called politics, politics.
She shouldn't be here, bro. Like, Cardi B shouldn't be in this argument, dog. Like, why is she here?
But that's Candace Owens' point, bro. Like, why do we have this person? And it's Cardi B admitted it. Like, yo, I have all these followers and I can tell them to go vote. But is that the smart thing to do? I don't think so. Because if you're just telling people to vote based on you don't like this person, and then as she broke down, like, yo, your president laughs every time a black person gets shot by the police. Candace was like, well, show me a video of that actually happened, because that didn't happen. Hey, he told people to drink bleach. He did. That's not what he said. That's how it was interpreted by the media, but that's not what he said. He did say some crazy stuff about it. He was saying like, yo, I heard disinfectant works. I need y'all to look at it to see if we can disinfect people's lungs. But he didn't say, yo, everybody should go out and drink bleach. And she's like, well, didn't you say that you date rape men and you kind of condone that? So how are you going to judge him when that was like, you said that you did that, and that's a legit crime? So how are you going to stand on that moral high ground? And then she was like, well, I want my money to go to free healthcare and free education and not to police departments. And she's like, well, that's what your money already goes to. Like, the public school system, like, that's what our taxes are going to. Like, that's not a right. All countries don't have that. So all your taxes, they are going to these programs already. So you saying that doesn't really, it just shows that you don't know how the political system actually works right now. So me personally, this is why I always, and it's not a personal thing. I don't hate LeBron. I don't hate Cardi B. I don't hate these people that get up and they start to talk about politics. But if you don't know what you're talking about, stay in your lane. Because it's people that do this for a career, it's people that do this for a living, and they are way more informed, and they may have a different perspective with some more knowledge than you. And just because you have a big platform doesn't automatically validate that you should be the one leading the thought-provoking content or conversations.
Yeah, man. All in all, Candace Owens blended her, bro. Like, just it was pretty bad. Like, you know you losing when you saying like the petty jokes, like, well, your pussy dry. You know what I mean? Like, you know you losing if you got those coming out. You can't win coming at those. You can't if you come in with the mama jokes at some point, you losing, especially if you're going up against someone like Candace Owens. Like,
yeah, bro.
So what? Again, I don't like what she did necessarily, and this isn't the first time we've seen Candace Owens do this. She actually got into it with Tommy Lauren not too long ago, and another Republican, strong Republican voice, I should say, political commentator. And they were going back and forth, being kind of catty and petty, saying whatever about each other as well. So this ain't the first time we've seen Candace Owens do it, because she's just a person just like anybody else. She was probably irritated about some of the things that Cardi was saying, because she was on Twitter, and surely Cardi was probably winning the Twitter war, because that's what it's black social media and things of that nature. So surely she was probably winning that. So Candace Owens had to come with the clip fully loaded on some video. I don't know where I think he says it was on IG
Live.
And legitimately, I was shocked at what I seen. So she took every point that Cardi B was saying, and we've already talked about that, so I won't reiterate them. But she took every point that Cardi B was saying and added the actual facts into it, the context into it, and made her argument so trash. Like, it made her argument terrible, and it was a complete dismantling of what she actually, like, Cardi B was actually saying. Cardi B response was like an IG video. It was on her IG story, and it just came off as like a rant, man. It just came off as like it moved. It was trying to stay within the politics of it, but it came into a lot of stuff that just didn't really make sense. It just didn't make sense. I didn't understand what her points were on that. And for somebody like us that come on here and we debate each other every week, you can see a strong argument and a weak argument, and somebody that's not well versed in what they talking about. Sometimes I'm not well versed in what I'm talking about, and I try to read up by the time I have to come on here and speak to this pod. And that's what you kind of got to do. You kind of got to get informed before you get into these type of conversations, because you got to have a baseline, right? You got to have a common ground in an argument, and then you can move from there with your points. But if you don't understand the common like basics of like politics or whatever the topic is you're talking about, then you can't move forward from that. I question whether Cardi B really understands the basic grounds of what she's actually trying to come off and say. And so when Candace Owens actually coming at her, it's easy for her to dismantle what she's saying. And that's what ended up happening, unfortunately.
And my thing is, just because people support Trump or they're more Republican, don't mean that they hate black people, bro. Like, it's so many black people that are Republicans that just have those conservative values. Like, it's okay if somebody's I'm about to say politics like Cardi B.
Yeah.
It's okay if somebody's politics doesn't match yours. That doesn't mean that they hate black people. It doesn't mean that they hate our race, and it doesn't mean that they're just pawns in this political scheme. Like, black people aren't like born Democrats and they have to be Democrat. No, bro. Like, people have different ways of thinking, and it's okay. As soon as somebody doesn't agree with you, you don't have to demonize their character. And that's on both sides. Like I was saying, Candace didn't have to just call her dumb and call her a pawn and say insult her intelligence. Like, that's not cool either. You know what I mean? She did have some points to back it up by saying like, yo, you're the only reason you're here is because you have so many followers on social media and they want to get into your base so that, you know, you vote for him, because you was just riding with Bernie and now you ride with Biden, and that's two different political philosophies right there. So there is some legitimacy of their argument, but still, like, the name calling and the insults, it's not really necessary. But Candace, she will pull up, bruh. Like, she will talk to Dr. Lamont Hill after her George Floyd comments, and she will talk to the president of the Black Lives Matter factions. She will pull up to the Revolt panel and talk about politics. She is proving like, yo, I stay where I stay, but I'm not against talking to people who differ from me politically, philosophically, because at the end of the day, I want what's best for my people. So I'm not just going to stay in a bubble and just repeat all these talking points over here and not acknowledge what's going on in the culture. You got to respect that at some point. Like, yo, you might not agree with her, but the way that she conducts herself, I think Tamika Mallory does a great job on the opposite side when we talk about the Democratic political commentator. I believe that's a great person that actually articulates her arguments and actually talks about social justice movement. I think, you know, somebody like her, that would be a great debate, or somebody to talk about.
That would be crazy.
That's a great one. But we got to be honest about, yo, just because you're a celebrity don't mean you don't know everything. You got a big platform, but you may not know exactly what to say on that platform. So I think Candace got the best of her, but conversations like these shouldn't dissolve into name calling this person a coon, calling this person a sellout, saying that Massa did you wrong, and like all of that, bro. What does that do? None of that. None of that is necessary, especially for two black women. Like, it's hard for her, just like it's hard for you. Like, y'all both successful, y'all both got money. So what is y'all still disconnected from us on the ground level to a certain extent? So y'all doing that really doesn't, you know, further the conversation or further that healthy debate that needs to happen within our community. It just creates more division, and that's not what we need.
Yeah, and don't fall for that stuff. Don't we're highlighting now. Highlight the actual points that was made in those arguments and dissect those. Ain't no dissecting the type of stuff. But what I can say, the KO punch, bro. Yo, I wrote a book on this actually, and I know you might not know how to read, but I'm gonna send it to you so you can actually read a motherfucking book.
The jab was you illiterate.
Yeah.
And then the hook is I'm gonna send you a book. Come on.
Shit like that.
I write these,
and since you you can't seem to understand this information, but I'm gonna send it to you anyway, so you can actually, maybe read for once. That was
the biggest thing, bro. She said, if you was just talking about rap, I'm gonna leave you alone. You are my domain. This is what I do, fam.
This is me. It's me. It's me, dog. That's light, dog.
Level.
That was a KO punch, man, for me.
Speaking,
it's the verbal skibbity paps for me.
I'm telling the political pause, bro.
It was tough.
That's definitely the cover art for this episode. Cardi
Oh,
B
man.
with the speed knot.
Oh man, boy. Oh, fuck, man. That was tough. That knot was crazy though.
Remember that?
That was crazy though. That knot was ill, dog. Bro.
Man.
Oh
Hey,
man.
but it's different ways. It's different ways to handle disagreements, bro.
Yeah.
There's people that could talk about it. There's
Yep.
people that's gonna be about it. And
Yep.
this next topic that we're gonna talk about is another example, bro.
Yep.
We talked about this during last week's podcast. So you want to introduce it? You want me to
Go ahead. You put me on, so go ahead and I'll feed off it.
So on the last podcast that we did, the Ponde podcast, we was talking about Joe Budden and his issues with Spotify. And he was going in and talking about how he was fighting for the creatives, and his stance drew a lot of criticism, including Charlamagne the God. So he also addressed Charlamagne the God in subsequent episodes of his podcast, saying that they weren't fighting the same fights. Charlamagne is an employee from iHeart, so he wouldn't really know Joe's fight because Joe's trying to empower himself. Charlamagne actually called him out on Twitter saying like, yo, you can't really compare your numbers to somebody like a network of people that Spotify is paying. And then Joe responded with, I am a network, so you can't really talk to me right now. You're an employee. Basically like just sunning Charlamagne like, yo, you work for them. I'm trying to be a boss. And Charlamagne came back and he recently just launched a 50-50 venture deal with iHeartRadio called the Black Effect Podcast Network. And that Black Effect Podcast Network, I think, is going to have 18 podcasts, and that's going to fall under it. And some huge podcasts, like some podcasts that by themselves are already doing numbers, such as the Horrible Decisions podcast, the Drink Champs with Nori and DJ EFN, all the Smoke podcasts with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes, and the 85 South Show with DC Young Fly, Chico Bean, and Carlos Miller. All of those are going to be on this new Black Effect podcast network. And again, Charlamagne isn't a 100% owner, but this is a 50-50 venture. So it's a pretty substantial amount of control that Charlamagne has with the backing of one of the biggest, if not the biggest, radio station. So he has a machine behind this network. And I think that this is ultimately checkmate, bro.
Oh, easy.
This is checkmate.
Easy money.
One person is talking about it. One person is doing it. And Charlamagne kind of just put his money where his mouth is. So what you think about the situation, bro?
Yeah. So this is crazy because they really not that different in general, right? Like Charlamagne also turns a lot of people off, right? He's burned a lot of bridges himself. He's been fired several times. You can read that in some of his books, but they different in their approach to business. And that's where this was kind of one. Joe Budden takes that character that he portrays on screen and on the mic, and he takes that into every situation in his life. And I think that's what's kind of destroying what he got here. I'm not saying destroying because I don't think the Joe Budden podcast is dead. I just think that you can clearly see who's winning and who's not. Charlamagne has a character that he portrays. It's clear he's not portraying that to when he's in business, when he's suited and booted. He's ready to go when he in those conversations talking. And the difference is Charlamagne actually built his value. Joe Budden is trying to tell us what his value is. And he's trying to tell these big corporations what his value is. Don't tell me, show me. Charlamagne showed for over a decade. Yo, this is what I do. I bring the people here. This is what I do. So much that one of the biggest radio stations in America actually acknowledged him and said, all right, not only are we going to start this with you, we're going to give you a 50-50. We acknowledge you on the same level as we are. We can't do this without you. That means you 50-50 with us. We got the organization, but you are Charlamagne the God. We recognize that, and that's your value. Like, we gonna give you 50-50 and nothing, and we can't give you nothing less, right? It wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair to you. Joe Budden is trying to do that same thing, but you just telling me though. You just telling me, and very aggressively, like, you know what I'm saying, like, and you trying to bully me into doing something. You can't bully Spotify into acting that way. You have to talk business with them. You have to play the game. And if you saying that you all those disses for Charlamagne, saying that he was some type of puppet, I know that was a long time ago. You saying he was a puppet. You've been dissing for years, you know, saying he's somebody, he got a boss or he's this, and you didn't understand the Dame Dash conversation because you a worker and you're not really a bossing up like this. All right, bro. Like, it might take my argument might take some more time, right? That was kind of the Nipsey thing too. Like, right, it might take more time for me to do it this way, but I got it done, right? I'm getting it done, and I'm getting it done for my community better than you are, because you are continuing to burn these bridges, to take this character that's on screen and use this aggressive person to try to go into business deals and do the same thing. So when I come in there to you and I say, hey, it sounds like you know your value, but you don't know how to negotiate it, and you come back and you say, man, shut up, when I'm on my pilgrimage and I'm trying to do this, man, for the black community, the white man, it shows how really different levels y'all really on, and not in a way that Joe Budden expected it to go. It don't look good for Joe Budden, man. It don't really look good. All that shit he was talking is for the birds, bro. Like that shit is for the bird. You can't come at Charlamagne no more after this, bro. You can't talk about nobody contract no more after this. You can't do that same shit you was doing, because you're being exposed for this. So and I hope Joe Budden comes back with something big himself. Because what's funny is on those podcasts we talked about last week that Joe Budden had actually posted, they were saying that, it's rumored that you and Charlamagne gonna start a podcast channel, and he was clowning that, saying like, oh man, I ain't me and Charlamagne, that's fall. I ain't doing it. And I'm like, all right, bro. You might have should have, dog. you might have should have, dog. That's all I can say, bro. You might have should have, bro. It don't look good for him, but I hope he can come back with some type of a deal of his own. I don't think he got the power or the leverage to get any big corporation to actually do this 50-50 deal like Charlamagne did. And that's the difference between the two right now.
Or the connections, bro. If you look at, like, you said it best, bro. I always bring up Nipsey because I think he set the standard, bro. He set the standard. He had a great interview with Big Boy, and he said, you got to take the stairs. You got to take the stairs. It's easy to hop on an elevator and go the quick way up, but if you take the stairs, it may take longer, but you're going to get to your destination, and you won't have to rely on the machines or whatever that can bring you there. Charlamagne took the stairs, bro. Yes, I'm an employee. Yes, I work for this company. But while I'm working for this company, I'm going to create this podcast over here. I'm going to create this show over here. I'm going to create this opportunity on Revolt. I'm going to create this opportunity on MTV. I'm going to team up with this company here. All this time, during these 10 years, he went and built relationships. He went and got friends in high places, to the point where he was so instrumental to that show, that network, they can't lose him. He became the most important employee. Like, yes, he's just an employee. He has a boss. But without Charlamagne, he put himself to where he infiltrated. It's kind of like The Spook Who Sat by the Door, another book and movie that Dip put me on. You infiltrate that, and you become so key to that organization. Now you have the power. So it's like, yo, what do you want to do? I want to start our own podcast network, and I want to name it the Black Effect Podcast Network to empower Black creators and not just own them. He's partners with these podcasters. So if they want to just build up and get the audience and then leave, he's empowering them to do that. Something that Joe Budden was just talking about. Charlamagne is doing it, like, for real. And this isn't something that he just did overnight. He had this trademark last year. He's been working on this whole time, not saying nothing, bro. Not saying nothing this entire time. So that's why I was saying, and they talked about it on his last episode of his podcast, Brilliant Idiots. Andrew Schultz, his co-host, was like, anybody can say it. Anybody can talk about, yo, I'm for the creatives. Yo, I'm trying to put people on. Yo, he doing it. And not just with people that's like on the up and coming or people we haven't heard about. These are already cemented legendary podcasts. All the Smoke is one of the best, if not the best, sports podcasts out right now. Hands down. Drink Champs with Nori, who doesn't respect? Everybody you know is going on that podcast. They have the ultimate respect. That Horrible Decision podcast, y'all think Caller Daddy and all these thought shows or whatever like that, bro, Horrible Decisions is right up there with them. That's like the pinnacle of that. Then you got the 85 South Show with Chico Bean, DC Young Fly, and Carlos Miller, bro. You know that's about to take off because Wild 'N Out just got canceled. So all that investment is about to go to the 85 South Show. Bro, these are power moves right now, bro. And I respect it, bro. This is how you move. This is the example. This is how you do it, bro.
Yeah. It's literally the definition of you playing checkers while I'm playing chess, bro. Charlamagne this whole time has been playing chess. Joe Budden's been playing checkers, moving from place to place, calling people employees, although he is an employee, which is funny about it. It's just all that talk, bro, amount to nothing, bro. All that talk about nothing, dog. You can't be out here just talking about it, bro. Like his credibility to me is shot at this point. His credibility to me is shot. I tried to give him a pass like last week. I'm giving you a pass. I'm mad about it now because like I literally was like, "Oh man, if he try to do that, man, that's cool, bro." What have you been doing, bro?
Sound good.
What have you been doing, bro? You've been watching Charlamagne do this shit this whole time, dissing him, and now look at him, bro.
Hey, bro, the famous saying of "I'd rather own 50% of something than 100% of nothing." That's this right here, bro. You can claim, I want to be 100% owner.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
What's that gonna get you when that ain't really doing the same numbers if you would have just partnered with this big company?
Yep. You can own 100% of the Joe Budden podcast, but when you run it into the ground, ain't really much you can say about that, bro. And they've always had like kind of a friendly rivalry, and it's always kind of here and there it's turned kind of sour. But man, this is the ultimate like
it's like a big brother move, dog. Like
because nobody is doing this with Joe Budden for several reasons, but Charlamagne is so well respected that, like you said, it's not just the up and coming people. The people that's already cemented that really don't need to do this are like, yo, we in here. We in here with you, dog. Like that's love, bro. Shout out to Charlamagne, bro. He should be my positive shout out this week.
That's big, bro. That's deal, legendary. Bro. That is big legendary, deal, man.
Big deal. I can't wait to see it unfold. Charlamagne, holla at your boy. Holla at your boy, dog. Holla at us, man. Holla at your boy, bro. I've been fucking with you. I got the book.
I bought all your books. I've been a subscriber to the Breakfast Club before I even had a YouTube channel.
Dog, bro. I literally do be watching Dog of the Day like pretty consistently, though. I don't know why. That's one of those segments that always gives me, bro.
Yeah,
I watched you see the shit that Skip Bayless said about Dak Prescott?
Oh, that he not strong. He not like
fucking idiot, bro. He losing it too. Shannon really the one on that show. He needed to pick it up or do something, man.
But he even said it before, like, feel free to condemn me, feel free to cancel. So he knew.
I heard it. Yeah, he knew it was on bullshit. Yeah,
it's really you know the game.
But no, I just watched that show consistently, and it's just like he's a one trick pony. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so and so all are to a degree, but his is really bad. Like, he got little players that he literally don't like, and he talks bad about them on the show.
Yeah,
that's not a good look.
It's like the old media style, though. It's kind of like with Jason Whitlock kind of building his career off of like criticizing LeBron. It's like that's the old style. Yes,
that's all you got. I don't want to be part of that, bro.
That's facts.
Man, that shit's trash. And if you got problems mental, like just because you're an athlete or you're a quarterback, that's the stupidest argument. Even though I know he probably just saying that to get a rise out of people, and he worked for me.
Yeah,
that shit is dumb. Shit is dumb.
Shout out to Charlamagne, though, bro. That was
shout out to Charlamagne, bro.
Power move right there, bro. Really respect it.
Let's get to these positive shout outs, though, man.
Man, I want to shout out whoever going to do makeup for Cardi B, because them verbal skibbity paps gonna leave a mark. Shout out Joe Budden therapist, because it's about to be a rough couple weeks.
I want to shout out the Air and Joe Budden house, because I know you're punching the shit out of it right now. Stay strong, Air. Stay strong, man. No, that's You think Cardi B will hop back in that political ring again? Probably
if it's not her, it's gonna be somebody else, bro. Remember when Hillary Clinton last election pulled up to the Breakfast Club and was like, "I always keep hot sauce in my bag." Like, come on, this is what they do, dog. Yeah, this is what they do, man.
All right, man. Let me get to my positive shout. Mine's is pretty short. It's something that actually, I was looking at, and these stories, not this one specifically, but these stories of people like overcoming something like something crazy, and then doing something that I still don't think I would ever be able to do is just crazy to me, right? And it makes me like, it gets me motivated to go out and actually do something. And this one is just a physical thing for me, so I'll explain it shortly, and then I'll explain how it kind of motivated me. So my positive shout out goes to Andrew Mason. Andrea Mason, excuse me. She is I think she's 53, man. Let me see. She's 43. She's 43. She just overcame cancer recently and then went on to complete a triathlon, which is 330 miles in 5 days. So she literally like got off of chemotherapy, beat cancer, started preparing for this, and then went 5 days exercise straight, pretty much 330 miles within 5 days. That includes biking, that includes running, that includes swimming. She was dominating that, and she's actually the first woman to ever be able to complete that, which is even a bigger deal. Like that's so women don't even do that. Not no disrespect, but she was the first one to do that after beating cancer. I sprained my ankle in June 1st. I still haven't been able to run. Like, bro, that's when it hit me, dog. That's when it fucking hit me, dog. Like I was like, bro, I'm still kind of limping. I'm still a little bit on a limp, and I injured my ankle on the first week of June. She beat cancer and did a triathlon. I don't have any room to complain. If I don't like something, this is me right now. I've gained weight since then. Like I'm doing something to change that now. Like I read stories like that, and it should motivate you. It shouldn't just be like, oh man, good for her. No, there's nothing different between her and me. If she can do that, surely I can overcome an ankle sprain. Surely I can come over my shoulder hurt, and surely I can overcome like me being tired this morning, and I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to do this. Bump all that, bro. Like listen to these type of stories and get motivated about it, man. Like people are actually out here doing shit that's amazing. Human beings shouldn't be doing this. They trying to literally, life is trying to throw her in the ground and put her in a casket. She came out of that like the Undertaker, bro, and dominated life, bro. Like that's like, you know what I'm saying? Like shit is just crazy to me when I hear those type of stories, and it should get you motivated, bro. It should get you like now. Like, I can't wait to get back at you. I can't wait to so I can take my first couple jogs. You know, like I can't wait till I can get to do that because these type of things that I hear about keep me motivated, bro. If she's beating life at like that, if the cards were stacked to get her that bad and she overcame that, I surely can go with the cards I got in my hand because I know my hand is better than that. I can do better if she can do better. So shout out to Andrea Mason. Again, that's just a wonderful story for me, and I hope that touched you somewhat. Even if it ain't this story, hopefully it's another story. But these type of stories of people overcoming this shit, you see people with their legs blown off and their arms, they got this, they got that. Even no matter what realm you're talking about, whether it's financially, physically, mentally, spiritually, all these people there's people out here doing worse than you and making a comeback, and you still complaining about this or that. Not saying you can't stop in a moment and be sad about anything or depressed or anything like that. Do that. That you deserve that time, but make sure you bounce back from that, rebound, see people do it. People are doing it. They have better stories. Make sure you write that story as well.
That's incredible, bro.
That one got me.
Incredible, bro.
That one got me. Yeah, get my ass out of run, bro. Try to take it. I heard with sprained ankle talk about you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'll be all right.
Yeah, like I'll run it next month.
That's love though, man. So for my positivity shout out, I want to shout out Joseph Griffin and the entire, I want to say this right, Volusia County Sheriff Department down in Florida. So there was a viral exchange that happened not too long ago where a man was running or jogging through a neighborhood, and then a cop pulled him over because he, quote unquote, fit a description. And once he got out the car, immediately the cop started to de-escalate the situation. And as soon as he came up to Joseph Griffin, he was like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I know this is going to be inconvenient, but you literally fit this exact description of somebody who just broke into a house and just stole something. So I just got to ask for your ID just to make sure and confirm that you're not that person. And then obviously in today's times, like these type of situations can go left really fast. So Joseph Griffin, throughout the entire exchange, like he stayed calm. He actually went on his phone and went live and like started going live like, bro, if anything happened to me, dog, y'all better go crazy. And then the officer was like, and he was like, look, bro, I'm not even white. Like his name was Officer Estrada. He was like, I'm not even white. I know what's going on. I'm not going to let nothing happen to you. You literally just fit this description. I just want to check to make sure that it's you. And then I'm going to just call it in. So he was like, all right, cool. He called it in and there was actually a shift change. So all the officers on shift came and then all the officers that were coming on shift changed. So it was like a total of 9 cops there. So instantly, like the situation just got super, super tense. And then his commanding officer told him to cuff him. So Joseph Griffin got cuffed. And then the officer was like, hey, do you want to stay on Facebook Live? And he was like, yeah. So the officer, while he cuffed Joseph Griffin, actually held the phone up for him so that Joseph can stay on Facebook Live for the entire 15 minutes that he was cuffed for. Throughout the whole exchange, people were coming up. All other officers were coming up to him again, de-escalating the situation. Hey, we sorry. We pretty sure that it's not you, but we just want to make sure that because you fit this description, we just want to get clarification. And the entire time, Joseph Griffin was like, cool, I'm cool. I understand. Just don't hurt me. I don't want nothing to happen to me. Like, I was in the military myself. Like, I'm not committing no crimes. And then eventually they released him and they let him go, and nothing happened. And even on the actual Facebook Live, Joseph Griffin was like, I just want to thank Officer Estrada for just de-escalating, telling me like he ain't going to let nothing happen to me. And when the sheriff department saw that, they actually offered to hire Joseph Griffin to come back and participate in implicit bias training so that he can actually work with them so that these situations don't happen and all situations can go as peaceful as that situation did. So they was like, hey, if he ever needs a job, we'll pay him to come back and talk about his experience and share how what happened on his side of the fence, because we know what happens on our side of the fence. So they offered him a job. They want to have an implicit bias training next month. And then the entire exchange, they were saying, yo, try to see it from our eyes. We would go just as hard to get your stuff back. So we're not trying to like victimize you or hurt you. We're just trying to find a criminal. And if you called the cops for this criminal, we would do the same for you. So I think that they're practicing what they preach, because they saying, yo, we want to see it from your eyes now, and we're willing to pay you so you can help our sheriff office so that this can be the new normal. So I know that was long-winded, but in these political times, in these times where police and it seems like the Black community are always at it, I think this is just a good example of what could be done if just everybody just keep their cool, de-escalate the situation, and just not have it end well and somebody getting shot.
That's a good one. That's a great one, bro. What county was that again?
Volusia County down in Florida. So they actually the first story came out was the man get pulled over because he fit the description.
Oh man!
And then they try to spin it like that, and then the sheriff department's like, hold on, fam. We got all 18 minutes of this whole exchange. Here we go, boom. And on top of that, we already in talks with him. He gonna get paid, and we're gonna bring him back for implicit bias training. Don't do that.
Relax.
So
relax, bro. Watch him out. Watch him out.
Don't get these candidates over.
Right. Watch him out, bro. Nah. Good bond though, man. Good bond though. Yeah, man. We appreciate y'all tuning in.
Appreciate y'all tuning in. Like we say every week, if y'all want to come on and get these verbal skibbity paps, like we do invite you, or if you want to give us these verbal skibbity paps, by all means, feel free to
100%. 100%.
Hey.
Shit. All right, fam.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yep.
For my part.
Oh my, the girls them sugar.